Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It's Wednesday, May 6th. It's New Comic Book Wednesday. So we're going to hit the trails, pedal up to the shop, pick up our new books, and be back here to BaseMint HQ to chat about them, show off some other stuff that we got. And yeah, Hank, let them know where we're going.
The comic book store?
Saturday, wearing ugly shoes, but never left in the rain, never coming back again. She left no note or blues. Why? Ask yourself why. Go on, ask yourself why. Why did you leave this way? Holiday, without her wedding news. They never flew on a plane with another to send the rain. And I don't care with whom, no. I don't ask myself why. I don't ask myself why. Why did you leave this way?
So we are back from the late night ride up to the shop. Made it there just before they closed. We were able to get our books. Everything was, exciting. Spider-Man tea is made. So we are ready to go. Normally I talk about the books that I liked from last week, this week, because I'm topical like that. But I forgot. I filed some of them away, the ones that I wasn't going to talk about, and then I forgot what I was going to talk about upstairs. But it was Uncanny X-Men and Captain America. Yeah, the usual that I like. When it comes to the new stuff, you can kind of figure out which ones I'm thoroughly enjoying and which ones I'm not. And so there is that. I liked quite a bit from last week, but there was also, it's been a very busy week. So, might as well just get into what we picked up this week and then talk about some other very cool things that we picked up today. So first up, Civil War Unmasked #1. This is, so I'm a little bit, like, initially when I saw the solicitation for this, I thought this was like it seemed like it was, oh, hey, it's the however many years. Holy smokes, it's 20 years. Oh, man. I was still mainly X-Men at the time that Civil War came out. And the 20 years ago would have been the time where I was like, the music that plays during the bike rides is the band that I was in. And 2005 would have been when that, the song that was on the song that I put to the bike ride was off that first record, Minerva. Record's not called, no, that's off the second record. Anyways, you don't care. Point is, I was at a show, we were playing, and I was talking to a buddy of mine that I did not know was into comics at the time, and my singer, he was like walking by us as we were chatting, talking about, I don't know, Kiss, and he was walking up to the bar, and he pointed at us, and he goes, "Oh, what are you dorks talking about, comic books?" And my buddy Mike was like, "Wait, you read comics?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I read comics." I was like, "This isn't some secret." And he was like, "Well, I only read Marvel." And I was like, "Come on, man. I only read Marvel too." And so then he started to, like, he was giving me he'd been reading all of Civil War and stuff. And like I said, I'm off in my own little X-Men universe. And I was like, holy shit, this sounds great. And so, that time period sort of birthed me, like, really expanding into the rest of the Marvel universe as opposed to. And then Mike he's actually the guy that got me into biking. He's the one who, he sold me his whole collection of comics and action figures so that he could buy a bike. And anyways, you don't care about this history, but I do. This is all. So anyways, I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those between the raindrops, like, this is stuff that was going on during Civil War. I'm like, do I really want to get this? And then I saw that Christos Gage was writing it. And then I was like, it seemed like from the solicitations that this was a follow-up to the little Battle World miniseries that he did. I think it was last year. This one, which I talked about quite a bit last year because it was a lot of fun. It was written by Christos Gage, art by Marcus Toe. I have it filed with the Secret War stuff because it all takes place on Battle World. And so I think this is picking up on a thread in the end of that one. So I am jazzed to read this. Knowing now that it's like a 20th anniversary celebration of Civil War, but also like a continuation of a miniseries that I really enjoyed. Amazing Spider-Man 992. Hopefully there aren't symbiotes in this one. Or if they are, hopefully they're cool ones. But this one looks like it might harken back to some of the characters from the little space Odyssey journey that he was on. So pretty jazzed about this one. Happy that, like, Dust Spiral wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But, I'm looking forward to, now the cat's out of the bag, the free comic book day or comic giveaway day. This one. I had read that a few weeks ago, and that kind of touches on something that was revealed in that issue or that storyline, and I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. I'm trepidatious about where that goes because I hope that it isn't one of those character assassinations of a long-standing character that, like, isn't around to, defend themselves or whatever. Captain Marvel Dark Past #2. Enjoyed issue #1. I have been on this kick of like when I was I sold off a bunch of series to my old comic shop, like complete runs of like the when Miss Marvel became Captain Marvel, like those like runs of books and stuff like that, and other various like Marvel Universe titles at that time, so that I could use that, like the, you know, I'll get rid of these series that I'm not that interested at this point, and I'll use that to buy 60s X-Men, which is what I did. And then I was like, oh man, I kind of, you know, and then I discovered that you could like, I don't know why I never did this, but I always like pick and choose issues that I'm buying off of eBay, but now shipping has gotten so crazy that I'm just like, oh, can I just, lo and behold, people are selling runs of stuff pretty cheap. So, you know, I like Captain Marvel, and I have been slowly filling in the gaps post Brian Reed, because that run was, you know, great, and I have that whole one, and now I'm getting the, you know, the Captain Marvel stuff. So this was fun. Jubilee Deadly Reunion. This was one of those titles where, like, when I saw the solicitation, I was like, I'm gonna hate this. I know it. I know that I am, like, when I look at the cover of this and see that says 20 years since Civil War, I realize that it is, if it's 20 years since Civil War, that means it's been 30 years since, like, I was in peak X-Men territory of my youth. And so, like, Jubilee, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I enjoy things that they've done with Jubilee, but it's also weird for me at times to, like I was like, oh, this is going to be something where they go back, and, you know, I think the thing is that she's being revealed to have, which you know what, now that I'm like mulling it over in my head, because I think the solicitation was like she runs into some family member or something, hence the title Deadly Reunion, and she's adopted, so that maybe that makes sense. And like, I just, when I flipped it open, because I didn't do that in the store, I see, you know, we got Nightcrawler and Gambit and Rogue in here. So yeah, I'm in. Plus, I liked my shop. My shop has been getting a little bit better about diving in and they got a lot of variants for like the Superman, Spider-Man thing, because everybody was doing that. But occasionally, I think, because the print on the ordering form is so tiny when you're checking the box, like occasionally they get like the B cover instead of the A cover, whatever, you know. And so the available version was this variant, and I liked it more than the A cover, so I was like, hooray, sure, I'll grab that. Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. I had high hopes for this, and I'm still kind of like, fingers crossed, this could be great. But it's like, it's weird. It's like, Storm is like one of my favorite characters, and I think it's like, you don't have to like hammer it home that she's a goddess. She just is. And this seems like it's trying to make her Thor. And, you know, I like Thief Storm, knowing that she's a goddess. I don't know. I have a weird thing with that. And this series, like, I really liked the Phoenix series that was coming out, and was kind of hoping for a somewhat similar treatment of Storm in that regard. And like, I had high hopes for that series, you know, but it is what it is. I really enjoyed issue number 1 of Daredevil. Really enjoyed the second season of Born Again. Finished that last night. Thought it was great. Looking forward to the Punisher special that they're airing next week. And yeah, jazzed about issue number 2, because I'm happy to have Daredevil back. I did not enjoy the run before this, so the first issue of this was pretty good. I liked the setup of Matt being a law professor. I thought that was pretty cool. That was a hook that I haven't read before in Daredevil that I enjoyed. Godzilla Infinity War number 4. It's Big Dumb Comics. I love Big Dumb Comics. The, like, crazier, and, you know, this is fun because it's like, it's not necessarily it's not in regular continuity, I believe. So it's sort of like, you know, in our continuity, I think when you've been, I find myself, since I'm in the game for a long time, you know, I've been a lifer. That's sort of when things happen to characters, I'm like, oh, well, that's going to be undone pretty quickly, you know. And that mentality has gotten even worse now that there's corporate synergy. Like, because it's like you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, all right. So we're putting out a mini series with Spider-Man, the Punisher, and Hulk. I wonder why we're doing that. And then something like this comes along, and it's just like stupid fun. And I'm like, sign me up. Sign me up for all of this. Marvel's best book on the stands. Fantastic Four has been incredible. Ryan North is killing it. This is like the first. This Invincible Woman arc has been kind of the first long arc that he's done, and I've enjoyed it immensely. Like this is one of those things where I'm like, oh, I think I know where this is going, and he consistently throws curveballs, and I dig it. It's such a fun series, such a fun series. And speaking of fun series, Cyclops #4. Look at that cover. You're like, that's ridiculous. That's Cyclops showing his kid how it's done. This has been a blast. Like, Cyclops trapped on an island, taking on the Reavers. This is, like, I'm transported to 1995. Last but not least, X-Men. Not as high up on my list as Cyclops and Uncanny X-Men, but it hasn't been, it's been better post Age of Revelation. Like, it's rare that this has been sort of an uneven series for me, and I really enjoyed Jed McKay's Avengers run, so I kind of had high hopes for it. So I think it's like one of those sad things where it's like I'm judging my own hopes for what the series would be against what it actually is, and it's sort of not living up to that, and that's kind of a bum out. But I got the previews catalog, which is talking about the I'm excited for a Fantastic Four X-Men crossover. That's exciting. That I'm all in for that. So that was our comic book shop trip. So tomorrow is the 26th year anniversary of my mother passing away, and she is, she's a big reason why I got into comics. I'm always it's a weird, it's butted up right against Mother's Day. We actually buried her on Mother's Day. It was a real bummer. Sucks worse for me. Sucks worse for my older brother because it was his birthday. She was a crafty lady. I grew up in a candy store because she ran a candy store out of our home in the area that we lived. And she was also very crafty. And where I live now is by an antique shop and a craft place that she would always go to when I was a kid. Like, one of my favorite issues of X-Force, it's hanging up on the wall over there, is X-Force 44, written by Jeff Loeb, art by Adam. Fantastic art by Adam Polina. His run on that book, Jeff Loeb and Adam Polina together were like X-Force magic. Anyways, the issue, it's the issue where Cannonball graduates from X-Force and becomes an X-Men member. And this was huge for me as a kid because I was a teen, and I just thought it was so cool that one of the young kids was actually like becoming an X-Men. Jubilee just sort of fell into it, but Cannonball like earned it. And I read that issue. We went to the comic book shop. I picked up my books, and then we went to this like antique mall because my mom wanted she was doing something there, and I stayed in the car. Cranked the radio, read that X-Force issue, and like core memory for me. So this place, antiques, records, vinyl, old lamps, the lamp in our kitchen's from there. Not that you're ever going to see the lamp from our kitchen. It's cool. It's colorful. And anyways, there are occasionally comics, and there are and this is not a place that people go to for comics. because, you know, it's like, oh, you want some old Coke bottles? Oh, you want a refrigerator from the 1950s? Oh, you want some handmade crafts? But nobody's really like kicking down the door for comics. And there's booths and stuff that have junk, you know, your typical, like, I'm going to charge $20 for a book that is literally a quarter comic. But there is one booth that is this dude's ratty old Silver Age collection. And he has them overpriced most of the time, but I luck out because occasionally he will like get what I can only imagine is annoyed that they're just collecting dust on these shelves and he's not really moving much. And then he will suddenly, like, a sign will appear that'll be like 50% off for the month of May, right? And so I live close enough that we can legitimately just like walk up, like walk Henry up to the park and then walk a few blocks down, and then there's the antique mall, and I can walk around there and I can look and I can be like, is the sign there? And so today I was like, I used to go there all the time with my mom. I should check, and you know, maybe the universe will throw a sad kid a bone. And did they ever? So indeed, it was he threw in the towel and was like 50% off all of this stuff. So I went through there and I was like, let me grab some stuff that I've been keeping my eye on. You know, and like I said, these are not in the greatest condition. So his pricing for me was always sort of like, I imagine it is, you know, like we're talking, these were like $7.95 a piece, and then you half that or whatever, you know. So first up, I saw this cover and I was like, smokes, I absolutely need this. Like, Thor number 131. I know. Get them out of the Mylars. Some of these I'm not going to be able to get out of the Mylars but look at that. Come on. How friggin' cool is this? They strike from space. That is one kick-ass cover, man. So yeah, I was pretty jazzed about that. And then, you know, I love Stiltman. So when I saw this Daredevil number 26, I was like, yeah, I'm going to wind up getting that too. And I mean, you know, like I said, it's, you know, these are not 9.8s, but like I said, I waited out, man. I know this dude is eventually going to be like, damn it, and start throwing the 50% sign up. So then I can look at this cover, man, of Avengers number 44. And I mean, we're literally talking like I'm paying $4 or $5 for these. So that's pretty great. Avengers 46, the Agony and the Anthill. That looks fun. It's got a big 6 drawn on there. I don't know what that's about. If anybody knows what that might, because I think there's something in here that has the stamp, which is like when they're supposed to be taken off the newsstand. And Rich, the guy who owns my shop, he was telling me one time that there's collectors out there that will legitimately just look. He's like, I got a guy that comes in here who just wants like newsstand stamped on the cover when they're supposed to be taken down books. Avengers number 75. You know, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I'm an X-Men guy. I ignore the continuity where they try to explain that they're not Magneto's kids, because to me, it's a hill I'm gonna die on. They're Magneto's kids. I don't care what Marvel says. They ain't the boss of me. They don't sign my checks. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver will always be mutants to me. Also picked up issue number 76. This is all stuff that I have in Epic collections. You know, really the only thing that I have complete from the 60s, besides issue number 1, is X-Men. But my Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, like the first 100 issues, other than, you know, a smattering of issues, are all in Epic collections. And so I'm like, if I can find them inexpensively, which these were, I will, I just showed the Thor and the Daredevil when I'm talking about the event. These ones. I will grab them. Avengers 128. And then I saw this one, and I'm not. This Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just love this cover. Like it's a Marie Severin cover. It's just great. Like the Hydra goons, like jumping down from what appears to be a Hydra Zeppelin. Okay, so we got a Hydra Zeppelin here. Let me get this thing out of here. You got a Hydra Zeppelin. Dudes blasting out of there with Hydra rocket packs. You got the cops showing up. You got this city scene. And the city scene reminds me, so my all-time favorite film is the Jimmy Stewart, Grace Kelly classic, Rear Window. I love it. Oh my God, it's the greatest film ever made. I love Jimmy Stewart. And this whole thing takes place, from the window of his apartment. And there's a shot where, the dude he's paying attention to, leaves, and it sort of looks like this. And then you got Nick Fury over here. He's getting kidnapped by the Hydra goons. That's good stuff. And right there, you can see that on August 20th, they were supposed to pull this bad boy off the stand. So there is some guy in my area who would really love to have this copy because it's got the newsstand stamp on it. And so those were the old Silver Age classics. And those are what I picked up that were Silver Age books. And then underneath that stuff, he had some more modern stuff. And there was a box of Spawn. And I don't care about Spawn. But, the whole kerfluffle with Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane and all that stuff, and him owning the rights to Angela, and Angela being pulled into Marvel, I was able to pick up her first appearance for like $3, and so I was like, oh yeah, sure, I will have that, since she is now technically a Marvel character. And then I have been rearranging some stuff, particularly in the office, putting in different bookcases, and one day I'm going to decide to do another room tour to show off the changes that have been made. And one of the things I did last week was I had a desk in there because I work from home, but I don't really use it like a desk because everything's, computers, and eventually AI, which is going to take my job, and then I'm going to sell my comics, and it's a tale for another day. Anyways, as I was, I kind of made a desk out of some of the bookcases so that I can keep some of my art books and some of that stuff to clear up more space for comics, since I've been kind of chugging along and grabbing some runs of stuff that I might have gotten rid of, and kind of fleshing out some other completing runs of, Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. So just sort of making space. And then in one of the bookcases that I put in there, I was trying to make it so it was basically I showed off those Clover Press Amazing Spider-Man newspaper strip things that I'm going to get, and they're obviously going to do those from 1977, I think, to 2019. So I'm going to need some space for those as they chug along with that. And I've got some creator-owned indie stuff that's been created by friends of mine. Bone. I picked up a whole run of Bone because I'd heard that it was great and also good for kids. So I figured when Hank was of the age where he might be into that type of thing, it was something we could read together. And then I am a John Byrne guy. He's my favorite artist. And I know he did a run on Superman, and I was like, I know I've never read much DC, but I stumbled upon a 50-cent bin find of the entire Man of Steel run that he did right around the time that the most recent movie, which I enjoyed quite a bit, came out. And I was like, I'm like, if I don't have anything DC in here, that kid is going to be like, forget Spider-Man, I love Superman, just to spite me, because that's what I hear kids do to their fathers. It's like a rite of passage. So I was like, all right, well, I got to get some Superman in here so it doesn't seem like he's rebelling against me. You know what I mean? I'm playing a long game here. So Byrne has the Superman run. So at my shop today, I picked up some of the Byrne Superman run and a couple of the Action Comics and some of the Adventures of, in the hopes that I can relatively quickly finish out a run of the Byrne Superman stuff. That way, I'd like to give it, like, I would like to give it a read. There's a little tiny Kenner Superpowers Superman action figure that I have down on that shelf, kind of signifying that that's what it is. I put the Mark Waid and Chris Samney Batman and Robin down there because he gave that to Hank at the last Motor City that we were at. So there's a tiny, tiny little corner that's DC, so that, you know, I can, this is me subverting the, like, I'm going to rebel against you, Dad thing and become a hardcore DC fan. There you have it. That's my plan. It's going to work? I don't know. Who knows? So, yeah. So, you know, kick ass. So, it was nice to visit that shop and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And I was happy that we were able to get out there and get on the bike. Weather's been unseasonably cold, which sucks. I'm looking forward to us finally sort of getting through this. But yeah, I am jazzed to read a bunch of my new comics. I am super excited to read the, I mean, I have read all of these Avengers that I picked up, but I have not read that issue of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil or Thor that I picked up, so I'm pretty excited to read those. And the Byrne era Superman stuff I am going to save because it is not complete, and I'm going to hold. Maybe I'll pull that into Cornerbox Classics when we finally get to 1986, which is going to be, I don't know, 3 years from now with the way I'm going. Speaking of which, I will get a Cornerbox Classics out hopefully this weekend. We're having Hank's, like, we did his birthday, just us, the three of us, on his actual birthday, and then have been, like, his birthday falls in this time period where it's, like, chilly, and I don't, you know, I don't want a bunch of people down here poking around. This is always the place that everybody's like, I want to see the room. So we usually do it outside, and so that's happening this weekend, and then there's Mother's Day. So, you know, if there's a Cornerbox Classics this weekend, be sure to salute my wife for being so kick-ass that she allows me to record it when I should be paying attention to her on Mother's Day or something. If not, it'll be, you know, Monday, whatever. But I you know, it'll probably be done this weekend. I really gotta quit committing to things at the end of these videos. Every time I do that, it's like, oh, free comic book day happened, and I decided to drive down to Cleveland and meet David Michelini. So, let me know, what did you pick up this week? What did you think of my little Silver Age Antique Mall hidey hole discoveries? You know, if you're ever in the area, you wanna visit BaseMint HQ, we can walk up there and you can pick up some Silver Age comics too. Hopefully it'll be when the guy throws in the towel and it's like 75% off. Why? You know, hopefully he's excited when they let him know that he at least sold a handful of them. But he's gonna be like, why when they were 50% off? Anyways, I'm rambling. You know, yeah, thanks for, I hope you're enjoying your comics. I am. And, you know, like, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you so choose, if you have not, I'm sure. I think I'm at the plateau. I think I've met my people. I'll be back this weekend with the Cornerbox Classics. Thanks for taking this ride with us. Bye.